So today, we are tackling what I think is one of the biggest paradoxes in global business right now,
Mm.
the AI value gap. We're seeing this massive, truly massive amount of capital pouring into artificial
The
intelligence.
numbers are staggering.
They really are. Our sources are saying global investment is projected to exceed, what, $250 billion in 2024 alone.
That's the projection, yeah. And yet, for the vast majority of companies, that money is just, it's not hitting the bottom line.
It's not translating into returns.
Right. It's a bit like buying a Ferrari, but not knowing how to drive it.
That's a great analogy.
Organizations are acquiring this cutting-edge tech, but they haven't built the internal systems or the culture or even the leadership structure to actually use that horsepower.
Precisely. So for this deep dive, we've drilled into some really extensive research, evidence from over 1,250 global enterprises.
A huge sample size.
And our mission here is really twofold. First, we need to understand why this tiny minority is winning so big. And second, what does that huge 60% of lagging organizations need to do and do quickly to catch up?
And the stakes couldn't be higher. This isn't a gap you can just, fix next quarter.
No.
The advantages we're seeing today, they're becoming irreversible.
Yeah.
They compound. The difference between the leaders and the laggards is getting wider every single day.
So let's unpack that with some hard data then. The research breaks down these companies, but what really jumps out is this tiny group at the top.
Yeah, just 5% of companies surveyed are achieving what you'd call transformative AI value at scale. The research actually calls them future built.
And the performance difference isn't small, is it? It's exponential.
Oh, they're operating on a completely different level. If you just look at revenue, they're generating 1.7 times more revenue growth than their competitors.
Okay, so that's top-line success, but the market, the investors, they see something even bigger, right?
This is where it gets really interesting. The future-built leaders, they deliver 3.6 times higher, 3-year total shareholder return.
Wow, 3.6.
Exactly. And that gap is almost double the revenue gap. It tells you the market isn't just valuing their current results.
They're valuing their future capability.
Yes. Investors are betting on their sustained velocity. And the other numbers back that up. They've got 1.6 times higher EBIT margins, and this is the real engine, 2.7 times higher return on invested capital.
That ROIC, that 2.7x figure, that's what drives the whole thing.
It's the engine of the virtuous cycle. And it's also the heart of the AI investment paradox that's trapping that 60% majority.
So the laggards are spending the money, but they just aren't getting that return on capital.
Not even close. So they don't have the financial headroom to reinvest. Meanwhile, the future-built companies take that massive ROIC and they pour it right back in.
Better talent, better platforms, better processes.
And they just get faster and faster while everyone else is stuck in this financial headlock. The gap just widens.
And what's fascinating is that the technology itself is at this critical inflection point. We're moving beyond simple generative AI tools.
We really are. We're entering the era of agentic AI.
Let's define that because it's a huge shift.
It's the shift from tools that help people to what are basically autonomous digital workers. They can reason, they can learn, and they can act on their own to achieve a goal.
So instead of me asking it to summarize a meeting.
Exactly. An agentic system, you'd give it a goal like launch the new product feature, and it would autonomously figure out the steps.
Wow.
It would draft the memos, route things for approval, schedule follow-ups, all end-to-end without constant human input. It's a game changer.
And the growth is explosive. The sources show these agentic systems were, 17% of total AI value in 2025?
And they're projected to hit 29% by 2028. Mastering this is the new competitive battleground.
So to really get this, we need to understand the 3 ways AI actually generates value. It's more than just automation.
Right. There are 3 distinct pathways.
The first one is deployment. This is the entry level, right?
This is the low-hanging fruit. We're talking maybe 10 to 20% efficiency gains from tools like meeting summarizers or intelligent search. It's helpful, but it's not transformative.
So the real work starts at pathway 2, which is reshaping.
This is where it gets ambitious. You're not just automating one step in a process. You're redesigning the entire workflow from scratch, as if AI had always been there.
And the gains there are much bigger.
Much bigger. Companies doing this well see sustained time savings of 25 to 40%. It's like reinventing the whole assembly line.
And then the third pathway, the ultimate goal, is invention.
This is where you create entirely new AI-native business models, things that just couldn't exist before.
And the sources had a really striking example of this, a global solutions provider.
That's right. They used Vision AI to create a completely new digital restaurant technology business. It optimizes everything in the kitchen in real time.
And that new business is projected to bring in $400 million in revenue.
Within 5 years, and at twice the gross margin of their old business. That's not just an improvement, it's pure value creation.
It's invention.
And one other key point here. This value isn't just scattered everywhere. The data shows 70% of the value is concentrated in core business functions.
So sales, manufacturing, R&D.
Exactly. You have to be targeted. You can't just sprinkle AI everywhere and hope for the best.
Okay, so this brings us back to the central question. The tech is getting smarter, the returns for leaders are astronomical, but 60% of companies are stuck.
Mm-hmm.
If the algorithms are widely available, why are so many failing? What is the real bottleneck?
The core finding is just. It's so clear. And it's not technical, it's organizational.
It's not the algorithm.
It's already the algorithm. The single most predictive variable for success is leadership commitment. Nearly 100% of those future-built organizations report deeply personally engaged C-suites.
100%. And what was the number for the laggards?
It's a dismal 8%.
8%. That's the whole story right there, isn't it?
It tells you that 60% of companies see AI as an IT project, something to delegate, not a company-defining transformation.
And we're not just talking about a CEO giving a speech about AI. This means active personal participation.
Absolutely. The leadership team is using AI in their own daily decisions. They're personally sponsoring the big initiatives. They're holding people accountable. They model the change.
So this leads to what the research calls the 10-20-70 rule, which I think is essential. It completely reframes where you should focus your energy.
It does. It says 70% of your strategic focus, your time, your budget, your political capital, should be on organizational and people challenges.
Change management, new skills, governance, incentives, the hard stuff.
The really hard stuff. Only 20% should be on the tech infrastructure, your platforms, your data.
And just 10% on the algorithms themselves.
Right. The algorithm's the easy part to buy. The 70% is the part you have to build. Yeah. And if you get that wrong, you will fail to scale, period.
And you see this commitment gap so clearly when you look at talent. There's a huge divergence.
It's massive. The future-built companies, they're planning to upskill more than 50% of their entire workforce in AI skills this coming year.
50%
Yeah.
compared to, what was it, 20% for the laggards.
Only 20%. That difference is everything. And it's not just about hiring a few data scientists.
It's about everyone.
It's about making sure your frontline manager trusts their AI dashboard. And the leaders are 6 times more likely to give their people structured, protected time to actually learn.
So it's about redesigning jobs for human-AI collaboration.
Yes, the human role shifts. It becomes about oversight, judgment, ethics, complex problem solving. The AI does the heavy lifting, the human provides the wisdom. You build trust in the tool by teaching people how it works.
Okay, so that brings us to the playbook. For any organization sitting in that struggling 60%, what do they actually do? The research lays out 5 clear imperatives.
It does, and they're all interconnected. Imperative 1 is strategic leadership and ambition.
So move beyond the buzzwords. Exactly. You need a multi-year strategy with explicit, measurable value targets, concrete KPIs, like the bank that aimed to cut time to hire by 40% using AI. That requires board-level governance.
Imperative 2, value-based workflow transformation. This is about focusing on that reshaping idea we talked about.
Right. Go for the big 25–40% gains, not the little incremental ones. Prioritizing high-value workflows leads to much higher impact, like the consumer products company that doubled its speed to market.
Number 3 is about new operating models, right? A joint business IT model.
Yes, the old way of IT just delivering software is dead. The future-built firms are 1.5 times more likely to use a shared ownership model.
Meaning the business owns the outcome, IT enables it.
Shared accountability. It's a true partnership.
Then imperative 4 is systematic talent development. We've touched on this, but it's crucial.
It's the 70%. You have to redesign roles. And the leaders, they involve employees twice as often in co-designing the solutions.
You can't just push it on them.
No, you have to co-create it. That's how you build ownership and trust.
And finally, imperative 5, the technology architecture and data foundation.
This is the engine. Leaders are 3 times more likely to have a centralized AI platform that allows for reuse and scale.
And the data.
The data is everything. Over 50% of leaders use a unified, enterprise-wide data model. For stagnating firms, that number is 4%.
4%.
Without a clean data foundation, you're building on sand.
So when you put it all together, what's the biggest risk for companies that don't act now? What should be keeping them up at night?
It's velocity. The window is closing because the gap isn't just about returns, it's about the speed of learning.
Talk about that.
Future-built companies get AI projects deployed in 9 to 12 months. For laggards, it's 12 to 18 months. That 3 to 6 month difference every single time means they learn faster, they fix mistakes faster, and their advantage just accelerates.
So the core takeaway for you, listening to this, is that this transformation isn't about buying the right software. It's not about just hiring a chief AI officer.
Yeah.
It's about a deep, bold commitment to organizational change. And that commitment has to come from the very top active, personal CEO-level ownership. The data is clear. Success here is 70% about your people and your processes.
And if you zoom out, the societal implications here are profound. As these leading companies consolidate power, entire sectors that are lagging behind risk becoming technologically obsolete.
A tough reality.
So the final thought is this.
Yeah.
What is the responsibility of that 60%, those struggling firms, to act now, not just for their own bottom line, but for the broader competitiveness of their industry, to make sure they remain economically relevant in a world being reshaped by AI? Something to mull over.